Hi, this is Dr. Scott, and today we're going to get into what does Elon say about Social Security. So I cut up several videos and I showed actually some very interesting information about this because what Elon and actually Joe Rogan got into about this, I thought was very interesting, but I cut down some of the videos and I'm going to show you some other evidence points that get into what Social Security really is about. Because the conversation through whether you're on the right or the left has been actually fascinating because the people go, well, Social Security is being is drying up and it's not going to be there for me when many of the younger baby boomers or the X or the Y generation is goes to retire. And the answer is, why is that? Because if you're an X generation or you're a Y generation, um, the reality is you're paying into it. And we've asked this question for a very long time frame, but we wonder why it's not going to be there. And um, Elon shows us why it hasn't been there. So let's get into some of this conversation. And this is something we've known for a while with it too.
Administration database because um, the Social Security number in the United States is used as a de facto national ID number. That's why, like, at the bank always asks for your social.
Right.
So, like, any financial institution will ask for your Social Security number.
It sounds so insane that this isn't chased down. I mean, like
Yeah, I agree.
that in and of itself that's such mishandling.
Yes.
No, we already know that, right? We know that the Social Security number is utilized as a simple way of finding out who you are. Let me give you an example of this actual issue. So when the government says, Social Security, what does Social Security actually do inside of our government? So, for instance, years and years ago, I was trying to pay my own income taxes, and yet it was found that someplace in I'm gonna be wrong on this, but I think it was in Atlanta or something or other, had used my Social Security number and my wife's Social Security number to collect, income tax. And when the accountant kind of did a deep dive on it, I had to have for about like 5 or 10 years, and I don't remember the exact number on this. Had to have an identifier number along with my Social Security number. So just to pay or get money back, I had to have a unique identifier number every single year. Like, and it changes every single year. On top of my Social Security number, I have to have a unique identifier number with the IRS to pay or collect. What? You got to be kidding me, right? And it's because some idiot stole it. So you guys get stolen, your Social Security number gets stolen all the time, right? It's the same exact issue that just happened, and this was literally about a year ago that hackers stole Social Security number of every American, excuse me, in the national public data by the LA Times. 2.9 billion people were reportedly stolen. Well, that's more than American, right? That's got to be, worldwide. I don't know why they said Americans, because that's way more people. Uh, this has been, and I've been finding out in the Tulsa area, most of the universities and the hospitals have had all of their data hacked. So in the Tulsa area, there's a hacking going on over the last year in the same kind of stuff. So there's a massive amount of fraud that has been going on around, even just in the same kind of stuff. So there's fraud going on, and what happens is they hack the data and then they put it on the dark web. And so what they've gone and done is that in hospitals and in universities is they put this on the dark web and they say, if you don't pay a certain portion of money to, XYZ University Hospital, whatever that is, we're going to put it up on the dark web. And this is the same kind of stuff that's been going on. And by the way, it's been happening in an exponential levels ever since 2020. And you have to ask yourself, why has it been going on since 2020? Now pause for a second. Now it's been happening for a long time, by the way, but why has it been going up and up in exponential levels? It's because they've been losing their shorts because we have been, as not just we, but the white hats have been cutting them off ever since Trump has been in office the first time. Executive Order 13818 has said, if you have crimes against humanity, I'm blocking your property. This is what's happening. So they have been blocked in their property and they have been stealing people's social security numbers. They've been doing these little things to block, to steal from people left and right. We've also been seeing the same kind of fraud that's happening against me in different ways because people are going and asking people that they're using my face, they're using my name to have people sign up for a QFS, crypto kind of thing. And so this thing has been happening since 22, the same exact time frame we're seeing some of this crazy stuff going on, right? And DOGE didn't start until around, obviously, when Trump got in office. And you have to ask this question: when did the QFS crypto, or the cryptos actually start to show the craziness of the systems? What we actually believe, some of this the crypto scams that have been showing off the crazy of the world, we believe some of this stuff actually started maybe in 2012 to 2017. We know that it started fully when they actually turned on the QFS, the quantum financial system, in 2019 for sure. So it's been working in contest against the SWIFT system of the Fed in 2019. So the question that happens is how much fraud has been occurring with the Social Security system. This is what Elon says about it.
From every other government program. And that's why the Dems were so opposed to turning off, to declaring someone dead who was dead, because it would stop the entire all the other fraud from happening.
And so, but all this, is it trackable? Like all this other fraud, if
totally
they wanted
trackable.
to, they could chase it all down.
Yeah, it's not even hard.
And yet they're opposing chasing it all down.
They're opposing chasing it all down because it turns off the money magnet for the illegals.
Do you catch what he just said? If they oppose turning it off because it would mess up they're doing it to the illegals. Now, what they've done is they've done it to dead people. So what that does is it goes right from the dead people into those people. So it goes from the dead people into the Democrats' hands so that they get the money. Number one. To the illegals, it keeps them the idiots in power, right? And that's why you see the SNAP benefits and all this other stuff, the fraud occurring. Now, here's a really interesting statement. We've seen this kind of thing. How much fraud is occurring? Oh, sorry, let me pull this off the screen here so you can kind of see it a little bit better. Social Security, Medicare fraud, they're going broke, right? In the trillions. The GDP, this is how much we have in total issue of debt. Now, this is a little bit older here. And so we have $27 trillion debt. Now, we have a lot more debt now with 38, but just stick with me for a second. And over the time frame, Social Security in 2033 would be $29 trillion to accomplish it if we don't stop this thing. Medicare in 2026 would be $47 trillion if we don't stop the madness. Think about that for a second. Medicare and Social Security. That's when, see, this is where we have a lunacy that goes on in the university campuses. The university campuses will tell you that we should have Medicare for all or universal health care. This is what the healthcare system is actually doing to the people right now, or actually by next year. And this was the shutdown that they tried to keep going. We can't pay for this. This is an unpayable debt. And it's higher than $103 trillion, right? No one can possibly pay these numbers. It has to be taken care of. Now listen to actually what Elon talks about this in relation to this. It's very interesting how he says this, and he'll he'll go against himself here in a second, but it's very interesting how he says this because the left vilifies him many ways.
You actually can't manage to zero fraud. You can manage to low fraud number, but not to zero fraud. If you manage to zero fraud, you're going to push so many people over the edge who are receiving fraudulent payments that the number of inbound homicidal maniacs will be really hard to overcome. So I'm actually taking, I think, quite a reasonable position, which is that we should simply reduce the amount of fraud, which I think is not an extremist position. And we should aspire to, have less fraud over time. Not that we should be ultra draconian and eliminate every last scrap of fraud, which I guess would be nice to have, but like we don't even need to go that extreme. I'm saying we should just stop the blatant, large-scale, super obvious fraud. I think that's a reasonable position.
It's a very reasonable position.
And the answer is, what happens if you do that? Now, I'm going to put it this way here. My response is go draconian. Because if we leave, for instance, I'm going to just make up a name just for the heck of it. Let's say you got rid of all the fraud issues, but you left Bernie Sanders in. Okay? He's the only fraudster of any one of those idiots out there. Let's just say you left Bernie and let him go to town. What he would do is restart the cabal. That's exactly what would occur. Here's what actually he says about the problem with the whole issues of the debt points here, because he actually goes back upon himself on this whole point too in another way.
Like unless you could go like super draconian, like Genghis Khan level on cutting waste and fraud, which you can't really do in a democratic country, or an aspirationally democratic country, then there's no way to solve the debt crisis. So we got national debt that's just insane, where the debt payments, the interest payments on the debt exceed our entire military budget.
The problem is, and he's right about that, but the problem that he misses on this whole point is this: if we don't delete the fraud completely, they will keep doing it over and over and over again. We have to go in and cut it completely off. My two mottos is this: you have to completely end the Fed. You have to completely end the IRS. When you do those two things, you start wiping out this problem of the Medicare issue. The debt goes away. You fix, and what happens is that there's no money train to fix. Sorry, I'm pulling it off the screen. There's no money train inside the Social Security system and the Medicare. Here's what happens. I'm not talking about messing with Medicare for people who absolutely need it. If you're on disability because you have been you lost both of your arms in a circumstance, right? In a workman's comp issue, and you're on Medicare because that's the way that you have your only Medicare, I mean your only payments for insurance, fine. You have Social Security because you have Social Security. It's called SSDI, Social Security Disability Index, right? And your disability index is 100%. There's nothing wrong with you getting good Social Security payments. I believe Social Security payments are going to go up dramatically in the reset point. We're going to see a dramatic increase in those. But what's going to happen is the illegals and all of the fraud issues have to get wiped out. And there's going to be more than enough money to take care of it when we wipe out all these other fraud issues. You wipe out the debt, you wipe out all of the fraud issues that goes along, because they've been stealing from us for a very long time frame. When you wipe out the fraud of this, you fix it. So can you kill off the fraud completely? You absolutely can, because these people have been getting absolutely wealthy in a very short time frame upon us. They go to Congress and Senate, they walk in there with no money, in essence, and they walk out there with, that we know of, hundreds of millions of dollars. And the answer is they walk out of there as billionaires and more. The fix is super easy. You make it where they come in and they only can go in there for 2 terms. If they want to go in as a senator, fine. You have 2 terms and you're out. You're done. You have no ability to get into another level of this. This is a super simple fix of this. You cannot, if you want to be any other type of governmental situation, you can't double dip. Sorry. You can go one or the other. There is no in between on this system. And it will be a very straightforward fix. What it does is it says that you cannot have the ability to be influenced in that way. For instance, American Academy of Audiology used to give me a lot of crap on this kind of thing. Do you know that I would go to the meeting, American Academy of Audiology, and they would say, you got a $50 or $100 gift card to listen for 30 minutes to a hearing aid manufacturer, for me to listen to them to evaluate their product. And they said, you were influenced by that $100. Listen, $100 or $50 gift card for me to do that. And I'm like, well, that might be the case. But here's what I would say to you. Out front, the hearing aid manufacturers were spending tens of thousands to $100,000 to influence the providers. To influence the people who ran the show. And you guys aren't influenced, but we little guys are influenced by a little tiny gift card. Do you see what I'm saying? This is what happens. They tell us that we can't get, we are influenced, the little people that we're influenced by those kinds of things, but you people aren't ever influenced. And see, that's what Congress and Senate does all the time. They make up all these rules, but it's never for them. And so I think what we're going to find when we fix this, can we completely kill off the fraud? And the answer is absolutely we can. So I'm going to ask you this one point. Would you like and subscribe, because it makes a big difference? Thanks so much for listening all the way to the end. I appreciate it.